one thing that all millionaires and billionaires do is they focus on the double Pareto. Let me explain what that means. So you've probably heard of this concept called the 80-20 rule. 80-20 is 20% of the time we are doing 80% of the things that produce a result. Or maybe if you look at your house, out of all the rooms that you have, you use 80% of your rooms, but 20% you don't. Maybe your wardrobe, you wear 20% of the same clothes, 80% you don't, or vice versa. Your income, all the income that you're earning right now, maybe you are spending 80% of it and then you're saving 20% of it. So yesterday I had lunch with a good friend of mine who's a billionaire, and he talks about these things called weekend projects, right? These weekend projects are things that he works on that are specifically solving a problem. And I think if all of you right now, you are looking to do something, looking to create something, it's super important to focus on the thing that's actually going to move the needle. For example, for me, I'm currently right now in the car with my manager, Nikki. Say hi. And so what are we doing now, by the way?
We're going for 4 podcasts today.
Okay.
Yeah.
So 4 podcasts. Now, what does that mean? One of the things that you want to focus on is the top 4% of the things that because 20% of the 20% is, of course, the top 4%. So the top 4% of things that you do on a regular basis, what is it? Like you can count on one hand the 5 things that you do on a regular basis. So for me, the top 4 things that I do is what I call the SPEC formula. SPEC. What does it stand for? So S is stages, right? So if you want to become successful, you have to be in front of an audience, right? That's the key to every business is build an audience. But audience is one thing, but then what we do is we convert that audience into a community. So we build audience first, which means we have distribution. And then we build a community. And community is the thing that a lot of the AI and technologies will not replace because people will then crave connection. If you look at all the times that you were locked at home during 2020, and then after when everything opened up, you could just travel. This is where it starts to get very exciting. So focusing on the double Pareto are things that allow you to do a little bit of effort, but you get a lot of result. For example, when we fly around the world, sometimes it's a speaking on someone's audience. So they might have 1,000 people there, 2,000, 5,000 people. For us to put our own 5,000 person event on would probably take 6 to 12 months of planning and millions of dollars in marketing. The key to this is to make sure that the double Pareto means that, well, in order for me to have to do that, I can just leverage someone else's stage, i.e. building an audience. So that's what the S stands for. So any business that you're in right now, look at who's running stages, and it could be a virtual stage. It could be a local stage. It could be an in-person event. It could be some kind of group that you're speaking to. It could be an industry event. It could be an exhibition. Any one of these things is to really plant your foot so you have a lot of distribution within that process. P is, of course, podcasts. Now, Nikki, out of all the things that we've learned when it comes to podcasts, what do you think the number one most important thing is when it comes to podcasting?
Branding,
Yeah.
IP, building your own IP.
Yeah.
And then this help you to spread your word and give you a lot of values in content.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's what Nikki does. So a lot of you are like, well, John, I would like you to be a guest on our podcast. Nikki, when all these people, they message us and say, we want John to be a speaker on stage. We want John to be in the podcast. Like what some of the criteria we look for? Or you look for?
Who are the audience? I mean, one of the most important criteria is about audience. Who are we impacting? And the business we're in, we are really helping businesses to scale, to help them to grow, especially looking for the unicorn companies, people in AI, in tech and social media.
That's why it's so important. So with podcasting, you're always going to get a lot of distribution. But not only that, there's like a lot of connections. Third part, which is the E, links with the P. So podcasts, and then E is events. So when we're doing a lot of events, we do events all around the world. After this, we're going to be flying again across to the US, across to Asia, across to Australia. And what we find is that when we run events create connection, and the events convert from audience to community. So when you run a community, people, again, you create a network of people pay to join that community as well. Why is that important? Number one, the community builds on itself and creates the next part, which is your collaborations. So the C in the SPEC formula is creating the collaborations. And I think this is where the world is moving to. When I sat down with my billionaire friend yesterday, it's not about what people are wanting to learn. It's what people are wanting to do. There's new concept now. It's not coaching anymore, and it's not consulting anymore. It's a hybrid of coach-sulting. So when we coach consulting is people want to learn, they want to know what to do, they want to know how to do it, and they want to do it with you or you do it for them. And so that's why now everyone has that ability to be able to create applications like in 5 minutes. If something that you want to get done can be done very, very quickly. And so that's why I want you all to really focus on what are some of the things that you're currently working on? What are some of the things you can help people with? In fact, you could even create your own podcast. You can use things like, Anchor.fm. You can use things like Zencaster. These are all places where you can actually create a podcast, and this podcast can then go out to a lot of people, and all these people now can not only focus on all the different strategies in terms of the spec, but when you're doing collaborations happen like kind of osmosis. So for example, Nikki, a lot of the podcasts that we do, we have a lot of people that say, hey, we want to do a podcast, but then they want to do an event with us, right?
Yeah, they do.
Yeah. So when we focus on collaborations, we focus on the process which creates the inner process of that process. So just by simply, and all these become what we call an ecosystem. Because the more stages that we speak on, the more podcasts that we get, the more events that we can do, because now people know who we are. So when we go to a different country, we now have distribution, which then comes into the collaboration of all the things that we do. So these are all like a multiplier of ecosystems of when you do things. That's why the double Pareto is so important, and understanding what your top 4% is, because these top 4% drive everything in your business. In fact, if any of you would love to collaborate, you want to learn all the different things and business, all the new trends, all the things that can happen where we can collaborate and work together and grow together, then I'm running a lot of events. If you click the link in the description, we'll let you know when our next up and coming events are. Other than that, I look forward to seeing you at the next event. And also make sure you subscribe to the channel. I'm going to upload new content on this as well. And if you got any questions, leave a comment below. See you soon.